Hello fellow hobbyists, I'm Jason and this is Level Up Hobbies, where I build, paint, and play tabletop games. Now today, in preparation of all of the Orruk and Orruk kits that have come out or are coming out, I am going to show you how to paint Orruk skin 3 different ways. Now this is just paint and brush, there's no special tools needed, and it's designed to be able to paint a lot of models fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll see you at the end. Later.
And now we're going to start building up the first color, and for that I'm going to put down a base of Deathworld Forest. Now Deathworld Forest is really my go-to for Orruk skin tones. It's a nice desaturated green. It's not kind of a comic-y green that you sometimes see with the Orruks. You can really take this and tone it down quite a bit, and I think it just adds a more believable color to the skin. So we're gonna paint all the skin here. It's got really good coverage, so it doesn't take much to cover even black. So let's get this on here, and when it dries we'll move on to the next step. Now I grab the Militarum Green contrast paint and I just lay this over all of the Deathworld Forest. And this will tint the Deathworld Forest a little bit, but it will also just flow into those recesses and give me some really nice shaded areas. And I'm not worried about the color, how it's changing it much, because we're going to build that Deathworld Forest back up and leave that darker green in the recesses. Okay, now I go back to the Deathworld Forest and I take my dry brush and just get it, not really loaded, but get a little bit of the paint on there and rub it off on some paper towel. And then I lightly start to build that Deathworld Forest color back up on top of all of the contrast paint that I've laid over it. And I do this very lightly, trying to go against any of the details and like not going with recesses, because I don't want those bristles to get down into the recesses and cover up that contrast paint. Otherwise, it's just undoing the work that we've done with the contrast. So we'll sit here and we'll build this up, and it'll take a few layers going back and forth, because I'm not really trying to rub this in here. It's just very lightly. And once I build it up to a level that I'm satisfied with, I'll move on. Now you can keep highlighting this up as much as you want. You can use lighter and lighter colors and really build those highlights up on this. I'm sticking to just the base tone, just because with that contrast paint and then the base tone over it, it's a decent highlight, and This is made just to pump out a bunch of models and not put tons of detail into it. And for the second skin tone, we are going to use a base of Deathguard Green. This is another desaturated green, similar to the Deathworld Forest. This one is much lighter, and I must say that this takes contrast paints and shades very well. It's a lighter color, so the other paints layer over it and alter the initial color in some really cool ways. It's fun to play with. So we're going to get a base of this on, and then we'll start working some additional colors from here. And now I grab the Plaguebearer Flesh contrast paint, and I am going to begin painting this all over the Deathguard Green. And the Plaguebearer Flesh is a very nice green gold, and it takes and really adds like a yellowed tone to the base color of the Deathguard Green. You can see that it goes from kind of a muted, desaturated green, and it really just livens that initial color up. So let's go ahead and get this on here and see what we get. And now I take that Deathguard Green again, and I just start building it back up. The combination of that paler Deathguard Green and that yellow green from the Plaguebearer Flesh makes for a really, really nice orc skin tone, and that I am very happy with. And again, just like the previous paint scheme, you can keep layering this up and just go lighter and lighter and really add a lot of depth to these orcs. But again, I'm just wanting to do a quick highlight just for this, just to pump out a bunch of models.
Hey guys, just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying the video, please like and subscribe down below, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I publish new material. Alright, let's get back to the video.
And for the third skin tone, I'm using Elysian Green. This is a layer paint, so it doesn't have as good as coverage as the previous two. That's why I'm putting it over a base of Wraithbone. Using Wraithbone, you'll get some nice bright colors from this. And this is pretty much the layer equivalent of Plaguebearer Flesh. You could actually make a glaze out of this instead of using Plaguebearer Flesh if you chose to. There's some slight differences, but it's really not that noticeable. So we're going to get this totally covered on here, and it'll actually take about 2 coats just because it doesn't have as good as a coverage. But we'll come back and start working on some depth. And for the final one, we're going to take some Orc Flesh Contrast paint, and we're just going to cover this Elysian green. Of the 3, this one looks probably the most cartoonish. It's a very exaggerated kind of Kelly green, and you may not be happy with this right now, but once this dries and you start layering up the highlight, it really kind of comes together. Like it's not as extreme as it looks now. So it adds some really nice green details, the depth to the muscles and everything. And then once we start working the additional color back up, it really tones that back down. Now we're going to grab the Elysian green again, and we're just going to start dry brushing that, building that color back up. It's going to leave that Orc Flesh Contrast paint down in the recesses, and it's really going to tone it down on the surfaces and the edges. And really, it turns out to be a very nice orc skin tone, in my opinion. Again, you can build this up, as much as you want, and just add as much depth to this color as you need to. Okay, so the skin tones are finished. I went ahead and I painted in the teeth using Xandru dust and then some Screaming Skull on top of that. And then on this guy, I went in and I made a glaze using Shaiish Purple and just glazed it on the lips and on the ears, and then just added a little bit of glaze to that cut that was over his eye, just to show you what a finished skin tone could look like. And again, this, you can keep going with these. You don't have to stop here. Like, you can make these as in-depth as you want. I'm wanting to use these to finish off my orc army, so I want to get done with them as fast as possible. So I don't want to spend hours and hours painting orc skin, as good as it may look, but I think you can get really good results from some of these methods, and I'm gonna give them a shot and try to finish up my orcs. So thank you guys for joining me as I showed you how to paint orc skin 3 different ways. Hopefully you can take this and use it for your own orcs, or just use the basis of this and change colors. You can use any green you want. You can use contrast paints, you can use shades, you can use oils, but this is a very simple method and it can be altered to suit your needs. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.
Thanks for joining me today on Level Up Hobbies as I showed you how to paint orc skin 3 different ways. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I publish new material. Also, feel free to leave me a comment. Lets me know how my videos are doing. Thanks again, and remember, build, paint, and play tabletop games. Later, guys.